After a fierce battle, the corpses of insects lay scattered like remnants of a catastrophe. It seemed that the instinct of fear had been conquered, and they had temporarily vanished. Thus, I ordered Hagda and Princess Huyen Deep to stand guard here. I stepped into the restaurant, where the staff busily carried prepared dishes to the counter. I firmly instructed them not to leave this place. There was food and water available, and in about 10 days, help would arrive. Although the woman holding the child pleaded to go with us, I resolutely refused. Before departing, I requested that they immediately turn off the lights and seal the windows tightly. As long as darkness enveloped the area, the monsters would dare not invade. The moment I left the restaurant, I sat down right there, a sense of foreboding swelling within me. It felt as though I had missed something important. Thinking of this, I rifled through every memory in my mind. Finally, a shocking truth emerged. My rebirth had altered the course of history, bringing the calamity upon us sooner. Therefore, Sister Van and my brother were very likely in danger. I had to ascertain their safety immediately. At that moment, Lu Thien Su descended from the heavens, leading a powerful S-class deity. Shortly thereafter, the deity swung their hand, unleashing a skill aimed at the mantis, which was brandishing its scythe towards humanity. A sharp whiz echoed as a surge of raw energy instantly crushed the mantis. Lu Thien Su then asked the woman how to repay the life-saving grace. Moments later, the mantis was pierced by a torrent of energy. It turned out that the one attacking was none other than Huyet Tai Lang from the team. His S-class ability was named Devong Kai Dao, with the effect of words becoming reality. Seeing his experience being snatched away, Lu Thien Su complained that such an act was not entirely reasonable. The last member of the team suggested that since the monster was dead, he should be allowed to be exploited. Then, the man placed his hand on the corpse of the creature, and immediately, purple energy spread like a wave. Rise for your king. As the mantis revived, transforming into a zombie, Lu Thien Su could not cease praising Yu Tai Kiet for his incredible power. Thanks to this S-class ability, the Dark King would grant them a colossal army. In my haste to depart, I casually dealt with the mantis that obstructed our path. This scene happened to be witnessed by Yu Tai Kiet and his group. According to Lu Thien Su, this kid acted swiftly and showed some talent. But Huyet Tai Lang asserted that an ordinary person without prophetic abilities would find it difficult to survive this disaster. These words made Yu Tai Kiet contemplate deeply. As for me, I was blissfully unaware of any of this. For according to the original timeline, Sister Van could have safely surpassed this rebirth. Thus, what I needed to do now was to witness her safety with my own eyes. Yet, the one who opened the door was not Sister Van, but an unexpected surprise I had never anticipated. It was her mother. From Aunt Lee's words, I realized that Sister Van had not yet returned. The end of the work shift had long passed, and I could not reach Van Non by phone. A surge of dread welled up within me, a foreboding sense of something terrible approaching. I hurriedly warned Aunt Lee that no matter what sounds she heard, she must not open the window or go outside. If she did not inherit power from the replica, encountering this situation would be tantamount to suicide. Sister Van, you must stay safe. I will come immediately. As I searched for Sister Van, Heidi unexpectedly reminded me that someone was ahead. Following Heidi's direction, I saw a woman lying in a pool of blood. She was too severely injured to have any chance of survival, causing my heart to tighten with urgency, compelling me to find Sister Van quickly. I immediately called upon the God of Wishes, asking him to locate Sister Van's position. As the wish book emitted a blinding light, 2 coordinates soon appeared beneath my feet, indicating my location and Sister Van's. With a clear direction, I clenched my fists, resolute not to retreat. I swore I would not allow the tragedy of my past life to repeat. At that moment, on another street, colossal insects seemed to be searching for something. I saw Sister Van and Van Van trapped in a building, awaiting rescue forces, but beside them stood a man, trembling with fear. He continuously screamed that the apocalypse had arrived, that everyone would die here, and no one could survive. Suddenly, like a madman, he charged toward where Sister Van and Van Van were. The 2 girls, in their panic, asked him what he intended to do. It turned out he was fully aware that he would not live much longer and only wanted to indulge himself before death. Sister Van urged him to calm down, while Van Van scolded him shamelessly, declaring that even if he were the last person left in the world, she would never submit to him. Yet he seemed utterly indifferent to Van Van's words. His sole target was Sister Van. He even retorted Van Van's comments as if they were nothing. Seeing Sister Van about to be tormented, Van Van rushed forward to hold him back. But how could a woman be a match for him? With just a little strength, he easily pushed her to the ground. Then, The man unbuckled his belt, looking at Sister Van with a wicked smile. Sister Van, pinned beneath him, struggled, but all she received was a slap and a warning to not defy him. At this point, Sister Van could only shed tears and give up her resistance, her heart aching in despair. Suddenly, next to us, the glass shattered. The man thought the insects had broken into the building. Moments later, a powerful force hurled him away. Almost simultaneously, I reached Sister Van's side, looking at her with gentle, apologetic eyes. Sister Van, I have arrived too late. The man, obstructed by my actions, blamed me, claiming that the building's integrity had been compromised, and that once the insects invaded, everyone would surely die here. Hearing this, I was filled with anger. This man was truly beyond redemption. Just then, I called upon Hagda, and he appeared instantly, tightening his grip around the man's throat. I intended to force him to reveal everything he had done to Sister Van, but he seemed deaf to my demands, continuing to scream for mercy. My voice echoed through the air, a powerful cry that resonated with the very essence of despair. I commanded Hagda to increase his strength. As he finally began to speak, Hagda hurled the man to the ground. However, to my astonishment, the man quickly sprang up and clutched at my legs. He begged for forgiveness, yet stubbornly insisted he had done nothing wrong. He had condemned himself. Therefore, I raised my hand, offering two choices. Either remain here and face judgment, or leave the building to seek a chance at survival. The man, upon hearing my words, hesitated not a moment. He chose the latter option. As I watched his figure retreat, then Uok Nguyen appeared in an instant. I wished for at least 500 insects to swarm around him within 5 minutes. Then Uok Nguyen waved his hand in response. Master, your wish has been granted. The man exited the building, cursing the vile creature under his breath. In his eyes, the glass lay shattered. Remaining here meant certain death. Yet he knew of a nearby refuge where he might hide. Just as relief washed over him for a fleeting moment, a colossal insect lunged at him, crushing him beneath its weight. In the blink of an eye, hundreds of insects poured forth. Within 2.5 seconds, he was reduced to a lifeless corpse. The swarm began its relentless assault, while I, inside the building, gently stroked Sister Van's hair, assuring her that all was well. Sister Van looked up at me, questioning why I had let the man go. I replied that anyone who harmed the most important person in my life deserved to die beneath the multitude of insect pincers, as only then could they atone for even a fraction of their sins. Upon hearing my words, Sister Van finally smiled. At that moment, Princess Huyen Deep suddenly appeared, asking, "Is that person meant to be your girlfriend?" I quickly intervened, preventing Princess Huyen Deep from speaking carelessly. Yet the princess pressed on innocently. "Did you not say he was very important to you once?" I found myself pondering whether to provide a definite answer, as my powers still felt feeble, insufficient to protect her by my side. But fortune smiled upon me, as Van Van awoke just in time from her faint, helping me escape this awkward predicament. Seeing Sister Van joyfully embrace Van Van, I approached slowly. To my surprise, Van Van turned pale with fear, mistaking me for a sinister threat. Sister Van hurriedly comforted her, urging her not to be afraid, and recounted all that had transpired after her fainting. Even after hearing the tale, Van Van stole glances at me, her heart swelling with admiration. "He is so handsome." Meanwhile, I anxiously informed them that we should not linger here, for I had shattered the glass upon entry, and it would not be long before insects swarmed in from all directions. Before long, I had escorted Sister Van back home. When Aunt Lee opened the door, Van immediately rushed into her mother's embrace, tears streaming down her face, mingling with the deep frustration within her, like twinkling stars in the dark night. Soon after, everyone entered the living room together, sitting down as Aunt Lee brought a fragrant cup of coffee and placed it on the table. Then, Aunt Lee thanked me for bringing her daughter home safely. At that moment, Van anxiously asked where her father was, why he was not at home. Aunt Lee explained that her father was a civil servant and had just received a notice today. He needed to stay at the office to await further instructions. Hearing this, I fell into deep thought. In my memories, Uncle Van worked at the Hangtan Center, where the entrance was designed to be open. Those insects always had an instinctive fear. Perhaps they would swarm in through the entryway. With this thought, I immediately informed Aunt Lee that I would go to the office to bring Uncle Van back right away. The mother and daughter quickly refused, asserting that it was indeed too dangerous outside. But I remained resolute, reassuring them, "Nothing will happen. I will definitely bring Van back safely." Not long after, I arrived at the workplace. Looking at the purple slime covering the surface of the building, I couldn't help but feel that this place had once endured an attack by insects. A powerful sense of pressure washed over me, making me feel cold all over. Instantly, I became alert, scanning my surroundings. After all, the monsters in the rodent disaster were only up to level 20, they couldn't possibly create such a feeling of pressure. Suddenly, a loud explosion rang out. The opposite side of the building erupted in a violent explosion. Witnessing this scene up close, my body felt frozen in place. Why was a higher level monster appearing at this very moment? Although most high-level monsters were below level 20. Just one appearance of a teleportation gate would immediately summon the higher-level monsters. These monsters were known as the gatekeepers. Only by defeating the gatekeepers could the disaster area be free from threat. In my previous life, before entering the chaotic era, the authorities had also offered attractive rewards to encourage the awakened to participate in eliminating the teleportation gates. But before my eyes, the gatekeeper monster was at least level 30. I wondered whether it was luck or misfortune to encounter it here. Even with 3 avatars beside me, I still needed to prepare thoroughly to face it. Right now, the most important thing was still to find Uncle Van. At that moment, inside the building, Uncle Van and his colleagues were being relentlessly pursued by a frenzied monster. Fortunately, both managed to rush into an office. Uncle Van hurriedly closed the door behind them. Immediately, he ordered Old Co to move the cabinet to block the door. For if that monster burst in, they would have no chance of survival. But despite all their efforts, the steel door was still being violently battered by the monster. Bending under the force, the horror of death left both of them trembling uncontrollably, even forgetting to breathe. Suddenly, a shattering sound echoed from the glass on the wall. Turning around, Old Bo suddenly sensed something strange. He inquired about the status of the worm outside, uncertain if it had vanished or not. At that moment, a familiar voice rang out from outside the office, searching for Uncle Van. As they gathered their courage to open the door, they were taken aback to see me waving to them, and at my feet lay the bizarre worm from before. At the same time, a group led by Utai Kiet approached the mysterious forest. Yet, at the entrance to the secret realm, they stood frozen in place. The announcement had revealed that the player, Black Emperor, had taken 1 hour and 52 minutes to complete the quest. And this secret realm would not refresh for another 18 hours. This infuriated Utai Kiet. He had invested considerable time gathering the most powerful awakened individuals, only to now find his hard-won achievements snatched away. Could it be that even the secret realm was claimed by others first? A man beside him noticed the anomaly, stating, "Black Emperor completed the level 30 to 35 secret realm alone. Such power should have been unbearable for a mere puppet." With a gloomy expression, Utai Kiet explained that this secret realm could be exploited to gather benefits. A little support for the NPC would suffice to pass through. Yet, unexpectedly, someone had stolen the advantage. After hearing this, Old Shu offered his perspective, suggesting that Black Emperor, like Utai Kiet, was someone who had returned from the future. This notion was echoed by Utai Kiet, since the entire group consisted of powerful awakened beings with abilities rated S or higher. Their puppets required an enormous amount of energy to sustain. Thus, Utai Kiet immediately decided to seek out other secret realms. Unfortunately, he soon discovered that all the secret realms had already been claimed by others, silently vowing that one day he would have a true battle with Black Emperor. Upon returning home, he felt curious about the power I had displayed. After all, every monster I encountered along the way was dealt with in a single strike. I then explained that I had awakened the SG ability. Uncle Van, upon hearing this, was astonished, for he had awakened the DG ability, which could enhance stamina recovery but only allowed him to easily reach level 6. Meanwhile, Aunt Lee had awakened a level C intelligent ability, enhancing memory and preventing aging. At that moment, Sister Van's voice suddenly turned incredibly charming. It turned out she had awakened a gifted ability, which not only made her voice enchanting but also enabled her to assist in restoring stamina for others, accompanied by numerous other enhancement effects. Aunt Lee, upon hearing this, laughed and asked what ability I had awakened. Fortunately, Sister Van noticed my embarrassment and advised Aunt Lee not to pry into the private matters of others. Aunt Lee panicked and apologized, but I simply smiled and assured her that there was no need to worry. I proudly introduced my ability, Judge of Justice, an extraordinarily powerful attacking force. Upon hearing this, Sister Van's eyes sparkled with admiration, and she expressed her desire for me to take her monster hunting someday. Without hesitation, I agreed immediately. In Aunt Van's eyes, this was a golden opportunity. With my S-class ability, as long as I seized the moment, I could become someone capable of controlling the weather. I smiled, thanking Aunt Van for reminding me. As night fell, Aunt Van stood up and suggested that I stay overnight in the now empty guest room. Before I could protest, Sister Van had already taken my hand, pulling me toward the bedroom. Watching them leave, Aunt Van couldn't help but sigh. The boy who had once been scorned by everyone in the orphanage had now become his savior. What a miraculous destiny. As night descended, I sat alone in the room, pondering this life. Although I had avoided the tragic fate of Sister Van's family, I could not remain here forever. For my brother was still imprisoned at the inspection bureau, waiting for me to rescue him. Thus, my urgent mission was to rapidly enhance my power and discover the target to seize the next SG ability. Meanwhile, somewhere, a man was whispering incantations. Gather the fear and despair of all living beings. Come forth, Lord of Fear. In an instant, a thick fog enveloped the area, and a red silhouette slowly illuminated, accompanied by an eerie laughter echoing everywhere. A hand swiftly reached out from within the mist. The image of the double S class, Lord of Fear, appeared before his eyes. Seeing this scene, the man laughed maniacally. Is this truly the double S class puppet? But the first words of the Lord of Fear rang out. I am your servant. Depart. Offer the fear and despair from all beings to me. I shall grant you unparalleled power. Facing her nearly insane father, the daughter softly called out, Dad. The man, who had just returned from the joy of summoning a powerful puppet, was jolted back to reality. Fortunately, the fierce tiger did not devour its young. The man gently stroked his daughter's head, telling her to stay home obediently and wait for his return. Watching the Lord of Fear standing behind her father, emitting strange laughter, the girl once again trembled in fear, curling up in the corner, too scared to move. Stepping out onto the street, the man felt an overwhelming thrill. For the power of the double S-class puppet far exceeds all imagination. The monsters he encountered were like mere insects before the Lord of Fear. And they were almost all annihilated instantly. In just 2.5 hours, the man's level had surged to level 8. With such terrifying strength, the man was no longer afraid of mockery and vowed to make the woman who had abandoned him regret her initial choice. At that very moment, the Lord of Fear commanded the man, my servant. Gather the fear that these beings create. Not enough to fill the void within me. Such terrible power can only be nurtured from the fears birthed by the human soul. Though the heart of the man trembled at the thought of murder. As the Lord of Fear rewired his mind, he was instantly consumed by a maddening thirst for strength. He even altered his role, transforming the Lord of Fear into his master. At that moment, one foot propped against the wall, with a smile shrouded in mystery, 15 officers fell before him, leaving only 2 awakened at level S, Ho Tin Min and Bao Dao. Then, Lord of Fear, help me locate those 2. As the powers of the Lord of Fear awakened, a voice echoed, your wish has been noted. Now, your task is to swiftly seize your 5th sergeant puppet. With the target set, I leapt from the rooftop. The sound of a sizzle rang out. The hunt had officially begun. Before long, the Lord of Fear smashed through the room door with a powerful punch. Seeing the man tightly clutching his wife and child, they gazed in terror at the sudden intruder. The man asked whether the Lord of Fear merely needed to intimidate them to instill fear in their souls. Yet, to protect his family, he charged at the intruder without hesitation, weapon in hand. But in the next moment, the Lord of Fear pierced through his body instantly. Witnessing his puppet savoring the intruder's fingers, the man felt a surge of panic. He had no idea how horrifying a monster he had created. Meanwhile, the Lord of Fear drained the man's soul, realizing that what he possessed was still far from satisfying his ambition. Thus, he shifted his target to the woman holding the child beside her. Just as the Lord of Fear was about to strike, the man stood in front of her, telling the Lord of Fear that the reason he had summoned him was to seek help in exterminating the monster, not to kill innocents. No sooner had he spoken than the Lord of Fear crushed him to the ground. It turned out that the Lord of Fear was born from the despair and fear that the man coveted. At once, he commanded the man to cease his facade of compassion. Become my slave. When it ceases to amuse me, I shall grant you power. Just as dazzling light appeared, the Lord of Fear continued to manipulate the man's mind, coercing him to eliminate the woman before him. Although deep within his soul, a flicker of reason remained, the Lord of Fear seized the opportunity to become the master. As the green energy seeped into the man's body, the last remnants of goodness within him evaporated like morning mist. Instead, only the infinite evil remained. The man slowly picked up the dagger from the ground, and in the next moment, The blade was aimed directly at them. Despite the woman's pleas for mercy for the child, what awaited them was the man's frenzied, cruel act. At that moment, a shadow suddenly rushed into the room. The sight before me left me shaken. The man stood there, his face twisted, and at his feet lay the corpse of a woman. In that moment, a wave of fury surged within me. Black Emperor, annihilate this monster at once. Hearing the command, the Black Emperor did not hesitate and launched an attack immediately. However, the fearsome monster was still an S-rank doppelganger, with just a raise of its hand. It could block the Black Emperor's strike. With the presence of a powerful and emotionally charged soul, the fearsome monster became extremely exhilarated. Instantly, it used its overwhelming strength to repel the Black Emperor. With a sharp swish, the fearsome monster began to move. For as long as it could instill fear and despair in those before it, it could harness power tenfold. The sudden attack left me in utter confusion. Although the appearance of Grey Chicken helped me block that devastating punch, it still made me break into a cold sweat. The speed was unbelievable. Without Grey Chicken, the odds of me falling here were exceedingly high. Seeing a new doppelganger being protected, the fearsome monster's assault grew fiercer. Its blows resounded like rolling thunder. I shouted loudly, "Black Emperor!" With a resounding thud, the Black Emperor's fist struck fiercely against the head of the fearsome monster. But after this blow, the fearsome monster quickly healed its wounds, driving it into further madness. I saw dark red energy gathering on its arm. Fortunately, the Black Emperor stood firm with raw power, showing no sign of weakness in the battle against the fearsome monster. Witnessing this scene, I immediately gave the command. I demanded that Grey Chicken transform into its battle form. As Grey Chicken dashed towards me, a cold glint flashed in the eyes of the fearsome monster. In its view, both the Black Emperor and Grey Chicken were nothing more than tiny ants. In an instant, a colossal wave of energy erupted from the fearsome monster. This energy not only harmed the Black Emperor's legs but also pulled Grey Chicken, who hadn't even reached its target, into the chaos. I quickly pulled Grey Chicken back. Just then, before the Black Emperor could land, the fearsome monster raised both its arms high. In a panic, I immediately summoned the green guy. Under the piercing gaze of the fearsome monster, the tentacles of the green guy swiftly wrapped around its arm. In just a few seconds, the other tentacles tightly bound the fearsome monster. At that moment, with the coordination of 3 avatars, Ga-Zam plunged the blade straight into its body. The monster of fear could not fathom why its protective aura could not thwart this strike. Yet, before its demise, it uttered menacing words, declaring itself the embodiment of fear within the souls of all beings. As long as fear still exists, it will undoubtedly return one day. But I responded with pride, even if you return, you will only deserve to kneel at my feet. For by then, I shall have become invincible. In truth, the defeat of the monster of fear was not solely due to the collaboration between the Green One and the Black Emperor, but also because of another mysterious factor. The primary reason lay in the unexpected attack from Ga-Zam, inflicting real damage. Its agonizing screams rang out like a bell, awakening thoughts within me. I beheld the man, once under the control of the monster of fear, now confronting the brutal reality of his actions. He gazed in terror at the 3 corpses before him, muttering words of regret for his crimes. But it was only when a foot appeared in his line of sight that he snapped back to reality. With a grim expression, I demanded he utter his final words before facing death. Upon hearing this, the man's eyes turned to me, filled with desperation. Immediately, he bowed his head and pleaded for forgiveness. He explained that he had been manipulated by another force, that he had not intended to harm anyone, but I had no intention of showing mercy. For taking a life came with a price. Furthermore, as long as he lived, the monster of fear would have the opportunity to return, continuing to sow terror. The man seemed to freeze, as if he had made a monumental decision. He acquiesced to my words, yet had one request. He asked me to lie to his daughter, telling her that he had gone far away and would not return for a long time. As soon as the man finished speaking, I did not hesitate to pierce through his body, stating bluntly, "Rest assured, I will protect your daughter until she comes of age." With tear-filled eyes, the man could only utter a word of thanks, as his life force faded completely. The system notified me of the target attribute choice. Among the options for innate effects, skills, and soul powers, I selected one to seize. Although choosing the soul power could grant me a double S-level innate ability. Recalling the formidable power that the monster of fear had displayed, I could not hesitate for even a second, for that would be a profound disrespect towards it. Even though this avatar might betray and control its master, I remained utterly confident in my ability to subdue it. After activating the ability to seize innate skills, I successfully acquired my first innate ability named Emotion Activator. This ability had an astonishingly long cooldown and vast skill range, but if it merely stopped at sensing emotions, it hardly seemed worthy of a double S level ability. Suddenly, it was as if I recalled something. This talent could be like a night rain, capable of enhancing the attributes of the avatar. Thus, I exclaimed, "Come forth, my avatar." Instantly, the sky was shrouded in smoke, and thunder rumbled. In utter astonishment, a gigantic egg appeared before my eyes. Witnessing this scene, I was immediately dumbfounded. What on earth is this? Where is my monster? With doubt lingering, I opened the attributes of the new avatar. This avatar is named Tai Dong, and for it to come into existence, I must select a certain emotion within a radius of 300.000 meters for it to absorb as a source of nourishment. This means that Tai Dong is not limited by a fixed ability or form, it entirely depends on my choice. Contemplating this, I decided to experiment with the effects of emotional resonance. In an instant, the complaints of life, the fear of disaster, and the anxiety for loved ones flooded my mind. In just 2.5 seconds, my spirit teetered on the brink of collapse. Fortunately, the skill of emotional resonance lasts only 5 seconds, but in that brief moment, I gathered an immense amount of information. Only sorcerers with high spiritual power can do this without being weighed down by the burden. Right now, the entire city is shrouded in a white mist. Cannibalistic insects are spreading fear everywhere. The man known as Hu Tin Lin has likely chosen fear as the source of nourishment for Tai Dong. And it is this that has birthed the monster of fear. This uncontrollable rise makes me wait for the cooldown time of the skill to end, after which I will experiment further to select the appropriate emotion. Once a conclusion is drawn, I immediately summoned the Master of Prayer, asking him to help me locate Hu Tan Wei, the daughter of Hu Tin Lin. It is unclear how long it has been, but Hu Tan Wei is still at home waiting for her father to return. Suddenly, the doorbell rang. Catching her attention, she heard someone outside calling themselves a friend of her father. The door swung open, and before her stood my figure. Inside the house, Hu Tan Wei asked when her father would come home. I recounted her father's lies before he left and told her that I would take care of her daily life. Upon hearing this, Hu Tan Wei not only showed no suspicion but believed that the big brother before her was filled with pure kindness. It turned out that the talent she possessed was emotional resonance, capable of exploring the depths of another's soul, which is why she trusted me. Surely, my father and I must be very good friends. Remembering that Hu Tin Lin was also a pitiable man, I decided to take her away once the white mist dispersed, seeking a kind family to adopt her. At present, the world is in chaos. People like Hu Tin Lin are neither the first nor the last. Therefore, the secular beliefs have lost their significance as before. Whether right or wrong, just or unjust, I shall undoubtedly become the king who reigns in the future. Those who stand in my way will become mere bones beneath my feet. And the annihilation of the Guardian of the Passage will be my first target. Its stature is as immense as a building, making it hard to believe this is a level 34 monster. Yet its attributes surpass those of a level 35 beast. It commands a vast army of insects, whether it be the parasitic soldiers or the roar of the king insect. Both skills summon a legion of insects ready to strike at the target. This is akin to the ruthless strategy of an insect sea. Thankfully, the king insect is merely gigantic and capable of summoning its minions, yet lacks other notable traits. Moreover, this extremely high stat is a precious gift for the Black Emperor. Thus, I wave my hand, assigning the task to the Black Emperor and Grey Hen, who just acquired a new talent, to accelerate the breeding process. The two avatars responded in unison, "Yes, esteemed master." At this moment, the Black Emperor began to unleash its plundering skills. Yet, I did not expect the system to announce that the surface of the Guardian of the Passage was enveloped in a one-dimensional space, causing the power of the avatars to soon vanish. Accompanied by the thunderous roar of the king insect, a beam of dazzling red light shot straight into the sky. Suddenly, a strange sound echoed in my ears, and at that moment, millions of insects surged forth from the dimensional rift. Just then, Utai Kiet and others appeared at Lingnan Temple on the clouds to provide assistance. According to his memories from a past life, this was the site of the Guardian of the Passage's first appearance. If just a few succeed in eliminating the target, not only can the crisis for the city be alleviated, but the requirement for level transition 2 can also be quickly achieved. Utai Kiet suggested that before seeking out the Guardian of the Passage, they should choose a captain from the 5 to lead the battle. For in the entirety of this journey, no stronger awakened being could be found among them. Yu Tai Kiet realized that he yearned to be the leader of this group. With Yu Tai Kiet's strength, he could easily defeat anyone in the team, except for himself. He further explained that although this group possessed the highest talents, the named Black Emperor had a starting advantage, and it was uncertain if they were truly weaker than those present. For with the strength of Lu Tianxi, he too could easily defeat anyone in the team, except for himself. Immediately, he clarified that although this group consisted of the most talented individuals, the Black Emperor also enjoyed the advantage of striking first, making it uncertain if he was weaker than those gathered here. Currently, he needed to rely on the memories of his past life to swiftly upgrade his power. Upon hearing this, Lu Tianxi was displeased. Believing the Black Emperor to be nothing formidable, no matter how strong, he could never surpass himself and Yuan Taiji, as both were awakened beings with 3's level talents. At that moment, he needed to rely on the memories of his past life to swiftly elevate his power. Upon hearing this, Lu Tianxi felt displeased. Believing the Black Emperor was nothing to fear, no matter how strong he was, he could never surpass him and Yuan Taiji, as both were awakened beings with 3's level talents. They even believed that Nguyen Tai Kiet was overreacting, declaring that they would personally annihilate the Black Emperor to help him regain his lost power. Upon hearing this, Nguyen Tai Kiet told Lu Tiansu that he didn't need to intervene. The strength he had lost, he would reclaim on his own. Yet, this declaration awakened Lu Tiansu. In his eyes, killing the Black Emperor would allow him to seize the power of Nguyen Tai Kuk. At that moment, Nguyen Tai Kuk would be unable to restore his full strength and would have no choice but to let him handle the situation as he pleased. Following this, Nguyen Tai Kiet commanded the new member, Eagle Eye, to sense the surroundings. When Eagle Eye reached the pinnacle of his abilities, the results became clear. Within a 10-kilometer radius, the strongest creature was a level 7 giant insect. Amidst the murmurs of the crowd, Nguyen Tai Kiet suddenly realized that calamity had arrived early, leading to an unexpectedly skewed abyss. Although the summoned monsters were of low level, their numbers were as overwhelming as ants. If I wasn't careful, I could be crushed by the onslaught, struggling to survive myself. Yet, as the saying goes, opportunities arise where none are seen. Now a precious chance presented itself. This throng of monsters was not only a threat but also a bountiful source of experience. Therefore, I waved my hand, allowing the two substitutes to freely join this feast. At the command, Haim effortlessly dispatched dozens of insects with a single strike. Beside her, the Black Emperor matched her prowess, and soon the notification board was flooded with messages of soaring experience points. At that very moment, the reporter Diao Mokhai was in a helicopter, reporting on the state of the calamity. Currently, the entire flight area was shrouded in a hazy white fog, rendering communication devices utterly useless. Suddenly, the cameraman, his face a mask of panic, shouted to Diao Mokhai, "Look!" As the lens zoomed in, a colossal monster emerged from the sea of clouds. On the creature's body, a shadow seemed to be engaged in battle. Though everyone had entered a transitional phase, only a hero of Hua Sha could contend with such a gigantic beast. Perhaps even the hope of all humanity. Thus, Diao Mokhai decided to adjust the aircraft to get closer. She wanted everyone to witness the grandeur of this hero. Although the number of insects was overwhelming, not only was I gasping for breath, but the energy of the Black Emperor and Haim was also nearly depleted. With this thought, I immediately crushed a shard of divine crystal. I instructed them not to allow these insects to come near. The two substitutes promptly restored their energy, responding in unison, "Command received, Master." Yet, even with the divine crystal replenishing our strength, it could not hinder the speed of the assaults that came like the wind. Just at that moment, the player notification announced that I had reached level 24. It was hard to believe. This level up felt like a savior amid adversity. Immediately, I allocated some of my free points into agility, while the rest upgraded 10,000 arrows direction to level 5. As a result, not only did the energy index of the 10,000 arrows sovereign drastically decline, but the wind's intensity surged from 3 to 7. Even the inherited power from the dungeon had reached 67%. With these stats, I was confident that I had the strength to defeat the monster. The Black Emperor and Haim had to crush them. In this moment, all the insects on the path ahead were annihilated, and our objective swiftly turned toward the guardian of the abyss, the king insect. The colossal form of the king insect stood unwavering like a mountain before my eyes. Yet now, fear had completely vanished from my gaze. In the very next moment, I unleashed the skill, Storm Swordplay, to its zenith. commanding the Black Emperor and Heim not to worry about their safety, but to channel all their might into attacking the king insect. Immediately, the master's summon was invoked. I prayed that within a meter around me, not a single insect could approach. Alongside the brilliant golden light, "Great Master, your wish has been fulfilled." Shortly after, I crushed a frenzied crystal, empowering everyone with a 30% strength boost for a brief moment. Almost instantly, I waved my hand to summon the green monster. In the blink of an eye, the nearest insect was pierced through by the tentacles of the green monster. After the Black Emperor and Heim dealt damage to the king insect, the surrounding space suddenly trembled. We witnessed a surge of energy erupting from the back of the king insect. This was clearly one of its two skills, king insect's howl. It seemed its health had dipped below 30%. Therefore, the Black Emperor and Heim continued their relentless assault, denying the creature even a moment to breathe. Simultaneously, Chef Mach Hai was recording the entire unfolding drama. In his eyes, although the world was plunged into chaos, the people of Hua Sha remained unyielding in the face of calamity. He was determined to bring this footage back intact. He wanted everyone to see that, in this moment of despair and darkness, there was a young man silently fighting for humanity. With the monstrous reinforcements multiplying at an alarming rate, my stamina was nearly depleted. But just then, I realized that the strength I had just spent was instantly restored. It turned out that the master's summon had activated supportive abilities from the rear. I had intended to express my gratitude to the master's summon, but the response rang out. Alleviating my master's worries is my duty. With such diverse support, I felt more confident than ever for this battle. Then, let the fight begin. King Insect, it's time to bring this battle to an end. As I fiercely attacked the king insect, I summoned the green monster and directed the tentacles toward its head. Of course, this damage was still not enough. I summoned millions of golden blades. In that fleeting moment, the weapon in my hand carried an immense power. Descending with ferocity, Die, Wang Kong Zhang. The wretched wail of Wang Kong Zhang echoed throughout the space, forcing Diao Mushi aboard the helicopter to cover her ears. As the strength of my arm surged, I shouted, Die, Wang Kong Zhang. Though this strike severed its neck, Wang Kong Zhang refused to yield. Witnessing this, I leapt down from above, finishing with a decisive thrust into Wang Kong Zhang. And immediately, the announcement rang out. Congratulations to player Heidi for becoming the first in the world to eliminate the Guardian of the Abyss. Reward: 1 lucky draw ticket with 10 chances, along with 10 fateful crystals. My total experience points soared to 4.320.000, elevating my level by 3 ranks. As for the fateful crystals, they possess the ability to enhance the success rate of equipment crafting by 50%. However, their effect is maximized only when used on extraordinary equipment. At this moment, Diao Mushi could not hide her astonishment. She could hardly believe that the young man before her was the renowned Heidi. Overwhelmed to the point of tears. A legendary figure with countless global achievements, yet so remarkably youthful. I gazed up at the figures in the sky. Seeing their radiant, confident smiles, Diao Mushi, her eyes filled with desire, resolved that if given the chance, she would surely interview this heroic young man. Not long after, the corpse of Wang Kong Zhang began to dissipate, and as the Guardian of the Abyss fell, the insects vanished along with it. I believed that soon, the mist on this path would also fade away. At that moment, Heidi inquired if anyone had recorded the recent battle. Would it cause any negative repercussions? Hearing this, I reassured Heidi that there was no need for worry. Should the video be leaked, it would bring my existence to the government's attention, thereby enhancing my reputation. Who knows, it might even aid in my brother's matters. Reflecting on this battle, the supply of divine crystals had run dry. Perhaps it was time for me to seek out the sacred land in the forest to replenish my strength. I silently prayed for the Master Qi Yuan to open the portal of randomness. Meanwhile, at a film set, the young masters were preparing for Cheng Yi Quan's performance. The woman clad in delicate attire lying on the bed was Zi Yuan Ning. Unexpectedly, some scoundrels had deceived her into coming back from abroad with sinister intentions. They were shooting an action film. As soon as one of them spoke, they brutally tore Zi Yuan Ning's clothes apart. Observing her motionless on the ground, a man incessantly praised her outstanding acting, yet his gaze betrayed his greed. Unbeknownst to him, from behind, a sultry figure was stealthily approaching. According to the positioning from Master Qi Yuan, I was swiftly making my way to Zi Yuan Ning's location. What perplexed me was how a woman like her ended up in such a derelict factory. The chains were deliberately severed, sending a chill down my spine. Instantly, I commanded Hagda to lead the way. As Hagda opened the factory door, a soulless corpse emerged, as if drained of all vitality. To guard against any unforeseen danger, I prayed to the master of the mysterious realm, beseeching that within the next 30 seconds, any attack would be rendered harmless. Little did I know, just as my wish was granted, a blinding pink light erupted before my eyes. In a mere moment, I found myself collapsing under the astonished gazes of the three substitutes. Yet, fortune favored me, as Huyen Da and Dean Qi swiftly materialized behind me, their laughter ringing like silver bells. A shadowy figure gradually taking shape amidst the smoke. Faced with this unexpected turn, the master of the mysterious realm quickly devised a strategy and commanded Hagda to remain and protect the master. Meanwhile, he and Heim dashed forth to rescue those lurking behind. In an instant, the two substitutes raced toward the shroud of smoke. At that moment, I gasped for breath, awakening to find myself in a resplendent wedding chamber. Beside me was the astonishing wedding photograph of me and Kai-an. Just then, two sounds caught my attention. I beheld Kai-an in a magnificent wedding dress. As Heim materialized before my eyes, the exhilarating scene nearly caused me to faint. As I regained my senses, I immediately inquired how they ended up here. Yet, I received only vague responses from their past and present achievements. Not only did Huyen Deep wish to help me relax, but Kai-tun also asserted, a precious moment of the spring equinox is worth 1,000 gold. At the same time, Huyen Deep's power could not be underestimated, causing the Enchantress Queen to retreat continually. Though the Enchantress Queen was not a match in terms of strength, the Pink Dream was her domain, rendering the Inner Demon Queen unaffected in reality. When Huyen Deep ceased her assault, the Inner Demon Queen mocked. Is it because the distance from the master is too great that you cannot continue the chase? Huyen Deep turned to the master of the mysterious realm and asked. Just now, the master clearly made a wish. Why did consciousness still fade? The master of the mysterious realm could not help but ponder. As the moment the wish was fulfilled, it had indeed become reality. The Enchantress Queen, not far off, spoke up to explain. It turned out that it was not an attack, but rather a means to ensnare someone within beautiful dreams. Once the dreamer loses control, what awaits them is surely death. The master of the mysterious realm, upon hearing this explanation, nodded in gratitude. Subsequently, extending both arms, he activated the ability, Book of Wishes. As the master of the mysterious realm called out to free me from this state, a brilliant stream of golden light surged into my mind. I, trapped in the illusion, instantly realized this was merely a dream. Although I often had thoughts about Sister Tun, at least now I wouldn't dwell on them as much. With a sharp crack, the beautiful dream before me shattered. Soon, I began to awaken to reality. Huyen Deep could no longer wait, rushing towards me. Master, you have finally awakened. Fortunately, the master of Kiveen rescued you from the illusion. The Queen of Inner Demons exclaimed in disbelief. She could not understand why the roseate dream she prided herself on was so easily shattered. Hearing this, I immediately understood everything. The dream scene just now was the product of this transmutation. In that moment, the Black Emperor could no longer contain his rising fury. Dare to lay a hand on my master? You seek death, yet the Queen of Inner Demons, with her S-rank power, swiftly escaped the Black Emperor's wrath in the blink of an eye. Her speed was truly astonishing. Coupled with the successful wish, she managed to strike me without my awareness. This transmutation was no simple matter. After a moment of thought, the Black Emperor pulled Tong Wen Nin from her hiding place. She hurriedly explained that she hadn't intended for things to go that way. While I pointed at the corpses beside me, I asked if these people were caused by him. However, as Tong Wen Nin recounted the actions of those individuals, she unexpectedly activated her innate ability. Seeing this, I immediately felt my expression darken and ordered Huyen Deep to act without delay. Heeding the command, Huyen Deep acted without hesitation. Instantly, a blade pierced through Tong Wen Nin's chest. He couldn't comprehend why his innate ability, SG, had failed. Despite those people being unworthy of pity, he remained silent and showed no mercy towards me. It was clear he was no good man. Just as he activated the power to usurp innate abilities, I successfully acquired Tong Wen Nin's innate ability, SG, Deadly Temptation. It has the power to temporarily distort the mind of the opponent. Its only weakness is that it can only be used on the opposite sex. The stronger the opponent's will, the slower the effect will manifest. Contemplating this, I decided to explore my entirely new transmutation ability. Come forth, Queen of Inner Demons. A surge of light erupted, and the Queen of Inner Demons appeared in the form of a flat-chested girl. She gazed at me for a long moment, silent, yet her eyes reflected a rising tide of suspicion. Master, it seems you are feeling disappointed. With a sharp whistle, the queen of inner demons instantly transformed into a powerful figure. Do you prefer this appearance of mine, master? I was taken aback, clearing my throat twice, and requested her to revert to her previous form. Upon receiving the command, the enchanting queen smiled softly, completing her transformation in an instant. She didn't forget to add, "You look so adorable when you're embarrassed, master." Then, from the data panel of the enchanting queen, I discovered that she possessed two forms, and the lowly form required no energy expenditure. The form of the sister unexpectedly enhanced her allure to men fivefold. The attributes revealed that the enchantress queen was not merely a warrior, but possessed maximum energy, and her skill, Pink Dream, was an incredibly powerful control tool. Once she had her target in her grasp, she effortlessly defeated her opponent without expending any energy. Time was still on my side, so I ordered the master of the mysterious pavilion to lock Lu Jianning's position. In my memory, the image of Song Yuan-ning and that man suddenly emerged. They were all members of an organization known as the Wrath of Arad. Shortly after, Lu Jianning collapsed, his body covered in wounds, lamenting that the SS-level innate ability he had just awakened was utterly useless. This ability only activated when he faced injury or danger. But as he opened the door to his home, I suddenly noticed a girl on the bed. Her face flushed. Lu Jianning felt something was amiss and asked the girl why she was there. Xiao Hong replied that she had returned specifically to find him. Hearing this, Lu Jianning's anger flared. It turned out Xiao Hong had already clung to someone else's legs. She immediately kicked the poor guy outside. Before Lu Jianning could finish his sentence, Xiao Hong lunged forward to kiss him, pulling Lu Jianning down onto the bed. "Jianning Ge, why can't you ever forgive me? Just say the word, and tonight, you can punish me however you wish." Upon hearing those words, Lu Jianning could not contain himself. He pushed Xiao Hong down. The flames of rage within him blazed fiercely. Watching Lu Jianning lost in a sweet dream, I couldn't help but admire the power of the queen of inner demons. Unknowingly trapping him in the pink dream, I commanded Zan Dai to attack immediately. Without hesitation, Zan Dai raised her blade high. Yet, in the very next moment, Lu Jianning effortlessly blocked the attack with his bare hands. The scene before me left me in shock. What was happening? Suddenly, the air around us grew chillingly cold. The SS level, Frost Destruction, appeared before me. Realizing the situation was dire, I reacted immediately. Black Emperor. Jade Demon, hurry to assist. Before the Black Emperor could join the battle, Zan Dai was easily thrown aside by the opponent. Almost simultaneously, the Ice Destroyer summoned a barrier that separated the two. Yet the Black Emperor, with a strength as fierce as a storm, was unfazed by the fragile shield. As the barrier shattered, the skills of the Ice Destroyer trembled, and chains as swift as lightning were unleashed. The Black Emperor found himself unexpectedly ensnared, a sensation that gnawed at his mind once more. At that moment, another chain shot forth like a gust of wind. Fortunately, Huyan Deep rushed into the fray just in time, his blade slicing through the incoming chain with fierce precision. I never expected that Lu Jianin could defend herself so marvelously. Thus, I resolved to seize this power for myself. I urged Hagda and Nok Ki to retreat, as I saw the figure before me summon back an image of itself. Hoi Diet Bang Jia clutched its chest and smirked mockingly. Have I lost all courage to strike against him? Yet what he did not anticipate was that I had seen through Hoi Diet Bang Jia's petty schemes. He sought to counter every transformation with old tricks, intending to use words to lure me into making a mistake, and then seize the opportunity to annihilate me. A master of humanity, Hoi Diet Bang Jia could not hide his intentions, grinding his teeth in frustration. From the recent battle, it was evident he had reached S rank. In a solitary duel, even my avatar could not compete. I immediately waved my hand, activating the innate skill, Perfect Fusion. Come on, Hagda, Huyan Deep, merge your powers for me. The energy from the two avatars swiftly fused together, accompanied by a blinding light. A shadow gradually took shape. At this moment, a completely new form was born. Led by Huyan Deep, Hagda Huyan Deep emerged, not only surpassing the S rank but displaying astonishing might and speed. The active skill, Raging Blade, could randomly strip away 3 out of 10 attributes or abilities from its opponent with each strike. Moreover, in the form of Hagda, each attack from Huyan Deep dealt a staggering 250 points of real damage to the enemy. The passive skill, Hagda Armor, provided up to 6.000 points of defense. completely compensating for Huyan Deep's inherent weaknesses. While I was still pondering, Huyan Deep in its new form charged forward to attack. As the pressure mounted, Hoi Diet Bang Jia resolved to hold nothing back, unleashing the full potential of the skill, Frost Fang. But against Huyan Deep's power, the icy spears rushed forth, instantly severed as if slicing through tofu. Seeing his attack go to waste, Hoi Diet Bang Jia roared, "Send forth the skill that can freeze everything, Eternal Frost Crown." A thunderous explosion echoed. A gigantic ice crown erupted from the ground, engulfing Huyan Deep. On this side, the icebox sealed shut, immediately appearing riddled with cracks. Under the defiant gaze of Hoi Diet Bang Jia, Huyan Deep shattered the confinement and challenged him to employ any trick he wished. "Don't waste any time," Hoi Diet Bang Jia shouted. "Don't worry about me," and demanded. "Huyan Deep, how can you endure so many ice skills without fear?" Huyan Deep coldly replied. "Just a few tiny snowflakes. What pain could they bring, in the blink of an eye?" Huyan Deep surged close to Hoi Diet Bang Jia, unleashing a technique capable of annihilating everything. At this moment, Hoi Diet Bang Jia had endured it all. He had executed various skills like Zero-Degree Armor, Heart of Frost, and Twin Frost Blades, yet could not hinder Huyan Deep. As the blade grazed his shoulder, Hoi Diet Bang Jia remained unfazed, for in his eyes, his Zero-Degree Ice Armor was not only as hard as steel, but the frigid aura surrounding it could significantly slow the attack speed of his opponents. Huyan Deep merely scoffed, as cracks began to appear on the black armor enveloping him. The fusion state between Huyan Deep and Hagda was gradually being shattered. When the Dark Earth armor was destroyed, all negative effects would be erased, and agility would increase by 60 points. In the blink of an eye, Huyat Daki executed the decisive blow. Before being obliterated, the Ice Destroyer repeatedly uttered the words, "Impossible. Why did I lose?" Soon after, he transformed into ice and disintegrated. Huyat Daki exclaimed, "The glory of my master, I shall protect." Lu Jianen, no longer shielded by her clone, stood like a lamb awaiting slaughter, and was swiftly taken by Huyat Daki to meet the King of Hell. Afterwards, Huyat Daki approached me. "Master, Huyat Daki has fulfilled the mission, completing Ninha's task." Hagda, standing beside me, pointed to himself. "I am no less." After encouraging the two clones, I seized the innate ability of Lu Jianen, and a powerful strength surged into my body. I could clearly sense that this acquisition was surely an innate ability of S rank or higher, poised to significantly enhance my combat prowess. Eagerly, I opened the attribute panel. The name of the innate ability appeared, Masked Persona, allowing me to summon my own guardian spirit based on my persona and mental will. Although it was S rank, it could only be activated when the master was in life-threatening danger. And the more severe the damage, the stronger the guardian spirit would become. After reading the introduction, I immediately fell into a frenzy. An innate ability like this seemed almost useless, didn't it? Unable to believe it, I raised my hand dramatically. "Come forth, guardian spirit." At that moment, it was as if I could hear the caw of a crow. Not only was there no summoning of a clone, but even the air around us became eerily silent. The two S-rank clones I had just acquired were now mere decorations. Suddenly, a thought flashed through my mind, and I signaled Huyat Daki to strike me. The condition to activate the innate ability was that I had to be in a life-threatening situation to summon a new clone. If I was attacked, he would surely appear immediately. As I signaled, Huyat Daki sprang into action. "Master, I'm coming." As the words rang out, the blade in Huyat Daki's hand descended like a tempest, but it halted a mere 0.1 centimeters from my throat. Without that obstruction, Huyat Daki might have become my first sacrifice. After savoring that thrilling moment, I was still puzzled as to why the new clone had yet to appear. The deity prayed aloud, "Master, perhaps it is because of your clone. I cannot sense the looming danger. After all, Huyat Daki's intentions are not to cause harm. The call has received my consent. Therefore, I command Hagda to attack, even if it means breaking limbs. It matters not, there is no need for mercy." Hagda is unlike Huyat Daki, he has no barriers. He suddenly appears before me, his powerful punch racing forward, and everything around us falls silent in a chilling manner. Suddenly, a voice echoes, "Indifference has come to awareness. My will and courage stand firm as mountains, unwavering on the path I have chosen and the justice I uphold. Let indifference witness. From this day forth, you are indifference, and indifference is disgrace." Alongside the birth of a masked persona, the voice resounds again, "Now, enter the soul." confronting the injustices of the world and the raging fury. Driven by ultimate ambition and a yearning for the future. With the name Indifference, let it roar. Just as I react, I swing my hand powerfully. Arise, Savior, in an instant. My first avatar, the Savior, manifests before my eyes. Finally appearing, the first thing he does is punish Hagda. He declares that as long as I command it, he will cast Hagda down to the depths of hell. Hagda, hearing this, refuses to back down, challenging him to see who will descend into hell first. Witnessing the impending clash, I swiftly intervene between the two. My expression taut with tension. When did you dare to disregard my orders and act on your own? The two avatars realize their mistake and immediately bow their heads, offering apologies for their recent actions. Their contrite attitude brings me satisfaction. If they were avatars like the fearsome demon, perhaps I, the master, would have to step in to assist him. Meanwhile, the Savior possesses attributes far superior to other avatars. The divine skill, Bai Manhwa no, not only instantly restores my life points, but also eradicates all binding negative effects. The skill, the Joy Mwa, has the capacity to inflict from 1 to 1.500 points of actual damage within range. Dat Hua Vin Hang is a supportive skill, enhancing the status of all allies within 100 meters by 30% and reducing hostility from enemy units by 20%. It is undeniable that these three skills are incredibly comprehensive, far exceeding the capabilities of the Frost Devourer. I then ask the Savior, what does the condition of 23% mean? The Savior responds calmly. It enhances the status of all allied units by 30% and reduces enemy hostility by 20%. It cannot be denied that these three skills are exceedingly comprehensive, much more powerful than the Frost Devourer. Shortly after, I question the Savior about the significance of the 23% form. The answer he provides is, depending on the level of danger the Master faces, he only needs to exert 23% of his power to help the Master overcome the difficulties. Who would have imagined that the Demon Queen would begin to stir trouble? Are you saying that merely using 23% of your power can stop this Hagda? The Savior remains remarkably composed. Indeed, utilizing an additional 1% of power is simply a waste of energy. This insulted the intellect of the Black Emperor, igniting an immediate desire within him to compete with the Savior. Witnessing this, I could not help but intervene in the quarrel between these two fools and delivered a sharp slap to the Demon Queen, demanding that she cease to disturb me henceforth. The Demon Queen immediately rushed into the arms of Blood Knight, seeking refuge. Sister Blood Knight, the Master struck me. Observing the chaotic scene before me, I could only sigh, unsure of how to navigate this turmoil. Truly, managing this team is a daunting task. At present, the intelligence of each clone is anything but trivial. Each personality within the group is exceptionally unique. If I were to fall into a state of unconsciousness as I did before, this group would surely descend into utter chaos. Thus, I issued a strict command: should I lose consciousness, they must follow the direction of the Lord of Prayer. Just then, Lord Qi Yuan spoke up, asking, is this true? Blood Knight, the Demon Queen, and the Black Emperor responded in unison, obey the command, Great Master. Regarding this, the Savior expressed dissatisfaction. Only when I turned my gaze toward the Savior did he nod in agreement, leaving behind a remark, the Master's peril has been averted. And then he vanished without a trace. Upon receiving the confirmation, Lord Qi Yuan swore to uphold the trust of the Master. Simultaneously, Yu Tai Jia and the others continued to argue over the distribution of benefits. Previously, some had decided that Yu Tai Jia would take 40% of the profits. Yesterday, the Master claimed 30%, while the other members received merely 10% each. With the explosive power of Blood Tai Lang and the others, they demanded a redistribution based on strength. As the debate between the two escalated, Yu Tai Jia did not hesitate to summon the 10 kings. This scene left Blood Tai Lang trembling in fear. He could no longer muster the will to argue. Yet, Yu Tai Jia proposed a solution. The assets obtained from conquering the secret realms would be discussed separately regarding their distribution. Does anyone have any objections? The foolish teammates, upon hearing this, appeared bewildered by this approach. Yu Tai Jia patiently explained, there are a total of 12 secret realms collecting energy, of which 4 will be shared between him and Blood Tai Lang. While each of the other members will receive 1, the remaining 4 secret realms will be distributed fairly based on each person's abilities. However, the sole requirement is this: when 2 individuals conquer a secret realm together, death must be absolutely avoided. Lu Tianxi inquired of Yu Tai Jia what would happen if he needed a perfect guide for the secret realm. Yu Tai Jia replied, If one conquers the secret realm by themselves, then of course, it does not pertain to him. To obtain perfect guidance from him, one must share 10% of the spoils. Lu Tianxi agreed without hesitation, yet a flicker of worry gnawed at his heart. If he were to provoke these three fools again, Yu Taijia would surely side with them, leading to significant losses. With that thought, he immediately departed from the scene. The remaining three quickly reached a consensus on Yu Taijia's proposal. Thus, this temporary alliance began to stir into action. Disregarding Yu Taijia's discomfort, he understood that these four were exceptional individuals, never one to bow easily to another. The avatar of consciousness, Wang,